Hideaway Husky. Paul was a little hideaway husky. He lived in Alaska on a husky ranch with a family who trained some of the biggest, fastest, strongest sled dogs. For a husky, being part of a dog sled team was a great honor. Paul wanted to be part of a dog sled team more than anything in the world, but he was just a tiny dog, much smaller than the rest. Every day when the man who trained the huskies came to harness up the sled team, Paul would run over to him. Pick me, he would yip and yap in his tiny bark. The man would bend over, ruffle Paul's ears, and say, "Sorry, little guy, only the biggest, fastest, and strongest dogs can pull my sled." Then Paul would shuffle to his doghouse with his head hung low, curl up, and hide away. One day, Paul was playing in the snow when Alex, the little boy who lived on the ranch, marched past dragging a green sled. Excited, Paul chased Alex across the field of snow, yapping and tugging at the rope handle on the sled. Alex stopped at the top of a steep hill. "No, Paul, this sled doesn't need a dog to pull it. The sled slides down the hill by itself." Then whoosh, Alex soared down the hill, leaving Paul in a spray of snow. Paul trudged home and slunk to his corner to hide away. It was evening when the dog sled team returned home. The man had just begun to unleash the dogs when his wife ran to him. Paul heard her say that Alex had not come home. "It's dark now, and it's snowing very hard. Alex's footsteps are probably all filled in," she said. She was very worried that Alex was lost. "Don't worry, I'll find him," the man said as he quickly retied the dogs to the sled. Paul dashed over barking. "I know where Alex is," he yapped, but the man pushed him aside. "Not now, Paul," he scolded. "I need the biggest, fastest, strongest dogs to help me." The man jumped on the back of the sled. "Mush," he commanded, and the team took off. Paul chased after them, barking and barking, trying to let them know they were heading in the wrong direction. But the sled quickly disappeared into the woods. "I must find Alex and bring him home," thought Paul. He ran across the field into the darkness. Wind whipped the snow all around. It was difficult to move and hard to see, but Paul plowed through. Paul stopped at the top of a hill. His keen ears picked up a whimpering voice. At once, Paul dashed down the hill, following the sound. When he got to the bottom of the hill, Paul found Alex lying a few feet from his sled. The boy had fallen off and hurt his leg. Alex was nearly covered with snow. Paul dragged Alex's sled over to him and with difficulty helped Alex onto it. Paul grabbed the rope handle of the sled with his teeth and started to tug. The brave little husky pulled and tugged and pushed, but the sled did not budge. Paul pulled harder. It did not move. Paul saw that Alex looked pale and his eyes were starting to close. The determined husky gave it one more shot with all the strength he had. Slowly, the sled started to move. I can do it, Paul told himself. Paul pulled the sled inch by inch to the top of the hill. Paul was almost home when the man and his team of dogs came racing toward them. The man quickly jumped off his sled and ran to Alex. Then he turned to the dog. "Paul, did you find Alex and pull him all the way home by yourself?" The tired little husky wagged his tail wildly. Paul sat and waited, looking hopefully at the reins of the man's sled. After the man had settled Alex into his sled, he walked over to Paul, bent down, and ruffled his ear. "You saved my boy's life, Paul," the man said, "but only the biggest, fastest, and strongest dogs can pull my sled." Paul's heart sank, and his head hung low. The man continued, "And also the bravest, most determined dogs." He placed a harness over Paul's head. "My little husky, you have earned yourself a place on my dog sled team." Paul proudly joined the rest of the husky team and helped pull the sled the rest of the way home.